What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Courtside Soundoff podcast. Once again, I'm Josh Evanoff, as well as welcome by the one and only man of the hour, too sweet to be sour, future Jiu-Jitsu world champion, Angel Ortega. A lot of stuff to talk about this week. UC Vegas 74 going down this Saturday from the Apex. The Ultimate Fighter episode 1 aired last night, as well as a bunch of news. Before we get into that, a quick shout out to two sponsors of the show, Rogue Energy and the ELYXR. Rogue Energy, fantastic sponsor of the show, have been for a long time to keep me fueled up, keep me going throughout my day, whether I'm going to the gym, working at home, or just about anything. Rogue Energy gets me through, and they get you through with code SOUNDOFF for 10% off at checkout. On the opposite end of things, ELYXR.com. They're going to get you really high. Delta 8, 9, 10 HHC products. They have gels, joints, gummies. They got it all. You can get it all with code SOUNDOFF for 10% off. Good sponsors of the show, both very different, pretty much polar opposites, but you can enjoy them both with code SOUNDOFF for 10% off. Angel, obviously no action to recap. However, we do have to talk about UC Vegas 74 going down this Saturday night from the Apex Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. Angel, flyweights in the main event. Kai Kara France, Amir Albazi. You know, it's kind of a hot take. This may be a hot take. Actually, I don't know if it is or not. I'd be totally down for way more flyweight main events if that means that guys like Jairzinho Rozenstruik are not headlining anymore. Angel, are you on the same page? You're muted, by the way.
You know, thank you for telling me that, because I started going hard.
Yeah, I knew you were going hard in the paint. You were just screaming behind the mic, which just turned off.
Just screaming in my house. No one is listening. Not even you.
Exactly.
No, but to get into it, of course, man, I think they deserve it. The last time we had a flyweight main event, Josh, was in 2017. Do you have any idea who that was by any chance?
Brandon Moreno, Sergio Pettis in Mexico.
Yes, it's been that long. Finally, after all this time.
Did you think you were going to get my autistic ass, bro? Get the fuck out of here.
Oh, man, I had to try, Josh. But after all this time, Josh, we've had flyweight main events. Let me correct that. But it was our first non-title fight flyweight main event since that one. But good fight nevertheless, though. Like, I get it, man. I get why it's been a while. But these, honestly, though, we do deserve more flyweight 5-round fights, man, or 5-round fights. I meant to say. I think this is a perfect one to kick it off, man. After such a long time, we got two guys here, Kai Kara France, established flyweight, been around a long time, very young, still, I think, 29. Obviously comes out of the City Kickboxing Gym. We know his capabilities. We know his stand-up ability. Last time out against Askar Askarov, the Russian, who found out had some medical issues and has put his career on hold. Did not officially retire, but at least retired from the UFC in the meantime. A lot of success, man. Stopped a lot of takedowns. And we've seen that Amir Albazi has a good jiu-jitsu game, a crafty ground game, obviously coming out of the Extreme Couture Gym. We know what those guys have been able to do in that department. And Amir Albazi is getting the test, man. I think no other kind of name before this, as far as in the flyweight division. So this is his first shot. Obviously, he's fought good guys like Malcolm Gordon in his debut. 6 triangle finishes, Zalagazim Magulov, which was the performance that got me on. That was on the Poirier McGregor card. The second one. And ever since then, 2 other finishes followed by that in Francisco Ferrer and Alessandra Costa finished late in the third. There's been a lot of talk this week, man, about Amir Albazi, kind of, how good is he, and also like people saying, I think, at least I fall in this category of being like, I don't think people know how good he really is. A lot of reference to the Shorty Torres fight that he lost outside of the UFC. People saying that's a blueprint. Look, man, I think that was a different Amir Albazi. He was young, he's still growing. He's 25 years of age. He's 29 now, going on 30 here soon, or might be already 30. I might have actually got their ages reversed for fucking Kai Kara and Amir Albazi, but they're around that age. Nevertheless, though, that's not what matters. Look, I've seen Amir Albazi. I think he's improved a lot. I've seen his striking's got a lot better. I feel like he's more comfortable than he's ever been before. His takedowns are looking great. His scrambles are looking great. His submissions are dynamic. Not to say Kai can't do that as well. I think Kai has, he's willing to grab a leg. He's willing to go for a leg lock. He's willing to do this stuff. And I'm just curious, can he now also stop the takedowns of Amir Albazi And was Askar's performance due to his health, or was it just that Kai Kara was just that good at stopping them? And look, we've seen it in the past that he stopped a lot of takedowns, but I just didn't think he was going to be able to do it against Askarov, and I wonder if he's going to be able to replicate that once again against Amir Albazi.
I hear you, man. I hear you. I think this is a fight that's very intriguing, like, for the reasons you laid out. Kai Kara, Franceman, like you mentioned, coming off that loss to Brandon Moreno. For me, this really, I don't want to say it's, for Kai Kara France, chance to rebound, obviously. You know, even before that loss from Moreno, he had 3 big wins, including a win over Cody Garbrandt. For me, this is the Amir Albazi show. I want to see how good this kid really is. Obviously, we know a lot about his background. We know a lot about his previous wins. Came into the UFC 2020, rattled off 4 wins in a row. First main of his career. Obviously, you mentioned, or I don't know if you mentioned during the whole little preview you just did, but we talked about it off air. Lost to Jose Shorty Torres, who, if you know Jose Shorty Torres, bad motherfucker. No shame in losing to him, especially earlier in his career. Look, man, I've gone back and forth on this main event all week. I know that for your sake, you're hoping for an Amir Albazi win, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna roll with him, Angel. I think he's the real deal, man. Who are you rolling with in this flyweight main event? If you
I'm a Ballsy all the way, man.
That's what I thought. Yeah, just want to go and make sure. I mean, I know that you have some incentive for him to win.
Could you imagine if I just switched up on that? I mean, it's a tough fight, man. Anything can happen. Definitely. I feel like this is actually a great point I've actually wanted to bring up to you. How many times have you ever gone into, and excluding Amanda Nunes, how many times have you gone into a fight and been 100% sure someone was going to win?
I mean, rarely.
And I mean, like, you can feel pretty confident.
I mean, I can tell you, I can tell you the most recent one was Il Horpataria versus Carlos Ulberg. I remember telling you on the show, I was like, dude, this kid's going to get fucked up.
Yeah, I know. Don't get me wrong. One of my main ones that I've had for the longest time, and it was months in advance when the fight, before, like around the time the fight got announced, was Dom Rari's here Prochazka. I was like, oh fuck, it's over. I have never been so confident that someone was going to lose a fight. I think I could have actually bet my house on that fight. That's how confident, and it would have worked out.
I hear you, dude. That's like I mentioned. That's what happened with Il Horpataria and Carlos Ulberg. I was willing to bet the house, dude. You know, like
it was just something I was curious about because, look, you can be confident in a pick, you can be sure someone has a very high chance of winning, but like 100% sure, bro, that's a different level.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, in terms of this fight, I'm not confident at all. I like Kai Kara. I mean, actually, I'll take that back. I'm a little bit confident. I think Amir Albazi is the real deal. I don't think Kai Kara isn't, but I think he's found his role, whether intentionally or unintentionally, in this division as a bit of a top 5 gatekeeper. Which there's worse places to be in your career. I mean, he fought for the title, he's faced some high-level names, but you see when he steps up against guys like Brandon Moreno, Brandon Royval, he takes a step back, you know? So I think Amir Albazi is going to go out and get a big win on Saturday. I'm expecting to go ahead and prevail. However, co-main event, another banger. You know, like this card, it's an Apex card. I mean, let's be honest. We know how the UFC schedule works at this point. They have one big pay-per-view a month, and they basically have 3 shit-tier Apex cards where we really only care about 1 or 2 fights. However, I will say this main card, prelims lacking, but the main card is solid. And in that co-main event spot, dude, you got Bruce Leroy, Alex Caceres, who in his mid-30s and his early 30s he's coming on. You know, he's putting one last run together. I mean, you're talking about 6 wins in his last 7 appearances in the octagon, 1 loss to Sadiq Youssef in there. No shame in that. Taking on Daniel Pineda, 37 years old, a vet. I mean, you're talking about a dude who's been around since the ELYXR days of the game. And similar to our boy Bruce Leroy, he's coming on right now. You know, he had some success in the PFL, granted. It's not on his record anymore. Daniel P.E.D. Pineda. He puts the P.E.D. in Pineda. Daniel Pineda. Anyways. But he came to the UFC 2020. He's got a couple of good wins since then. What do you think of this co-main event, man? I think this one's going to be a banger.
I think it's going to be a banger too, man. Tough fight to call for sure. Fuck, dude, how do I go into this one? I mean, Daniel Pineda, man, all 28 of his wins are finishes. I don't know if you knew this.
I did not know that, actually.
every single one of his wins that he has in his professional career, all 28 are finishes. I believe I heard this somewhere. I could be, if I'm incorrect, I'm going to sound really dumb right now, but I'm pretty sure we could even fact check it if you want. All 28 wins are finishes. And look, for Alex Caceres, he's gotten dropped a fair bit throughout his career. It's been a while since he got finished. I believe the last one was Crone, which was a submission before that. The other one was like in 2017. So, Daniel Pineda's got his work cut out for him if he wants to get Alex Caceres out of there. Pineda in the past has had some troubles if the fight does go a little longer. But we saw in his last fight that in the second round he didn't fade at all. So maybe some changes there. Maybe he's kind of figured some stuff out. Obviously, we mentioned some other factors that affected his career in PFL that might have been contributing to maybe some tiredness, but obviously he got counteracted by some other benefits. Look, man, I've been Alex Caceres all week. I was Alex Caceres last week. I'm going to stay Alex Caceres this week, baby. Let's get it.
Yeah, man. I gotta admit, I was going back and forth on the main event a little bit. I'm just as equally conflicted on this co-main event, man. I think Daniel Pineda, man, I don't know if he's coming or he's going, man. I really don't know sometimes. I'm gonna go ahead and roll with Alex Caceres too. I think Bruce Leroy, he's on a great winning streak right now. I think if the Daniel Pineda shows up that, the one from the PFL, the guy that, dominated Tucker Lutz last time out, the guy that knocked out Herbert Burns in his return to the UFC back in 2020. If that guy shows up, I think, he could definitely defeat Bruce Leroy. I just think, man, he's a guy that I don't know if it's because of age or it's wear and tear. It's just sometimes he'll show up and he'll just not be there, man. I mean, the Cub Swanson knockout loss. Remember when we fought Andre Fili? Andre Fili was looking like Roy Jones out there in his prime. In the first round, and then he accidentally eye poked him, and Daniel Pineda was like, "Bro, get me the fuck out of here, man!"
I was so excited for that fight. It was looking like to be a banger, man, and it just
you remember it too, dude. Andre Fili leveled up that night, and I don't know but then after looking at his performances, I'm like, nah, man, Daniel Pineda just didn't show up that night.
It's kind of sad though. They never ran that one back, and I felt like they should have.
I understand why they didn't, because I don't feel like there was any real answering questions. Obviously, it was just one round, but Andre Fili was...
Still, though, I thought it looked like a great fight anyways, dude.
Maybe. Maybe it'll happen.
By the way, I pulled it up. All 28, I was correct. All 28 of Daniel Pineda's professional career wins are via finish. Every time he's seen his scorecard in his professional career, he's lost 6 submission losses out of his 14 and 3 TKO losses. So there's that. Bam.
Yeah, I just had to wait and see how long it would take if I didn't say anything. But yeah, man, I think that co-main event's gonna be a lot of fun. Finish probably coming in that one, man. As far as the rest of the card goes, there's definitely some fun fights here. I will admit, I'm a little bit, okay, so this fight I'm excited for, right? But why is Jared Gordon fighting a month after getting put out cold by Bobby Green?
He want to get in there, man. He's just like, fuck it, I'm down. I want to get one in. And they give him Jim Miller.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure this is a short notice fight. Yeah, it was supposed to be Jim Miller versus Luvok Klein.
Yeah, so he's coming in on short notice to help out too. And like I said, it is Jim Miller. No disrespect to Jim Miller. Jim Miller is still capable of beating very good guys and giving good performances. So I don't got a crazy issue, but I know what you mean after getting, how that Fizz Lice fight ended. It definitely doesn't seem like the best idea.
Yeah, I understand the thought process, especially from Jared Gordon. You got knocked out last time. It was a controversial fight. Obviously, it wasn't a loss because he got overturned during no contest, but I'm more saying the Nevada State Athletic Commission,
They gave no fucks on this one, huh?
Nick Diaz can't smoke weed, but power slap, baby. Fucking, that's fine here, It's just, Jared Gordon just got massacred a month ago, put out cold, but fuck it, we'll bring him in, I don't know, man. As far as the fight itself, I hope that I'm sure Jared Gordon probably be fine. But and I know it may seem like some people may think I'm overreacting here, but this is how people die in combat sports, It's for all the visuals of like blood and stuff and like broken legs and broken arms and stuff. The real times when people die in combat sports, it's like they get knocked out once or twice in training in the span of a month, and then they go and they fight in the cage and they go get knocked out again. Like post-concussion syndrome and not letting your brain heal, that's how people die. So I'm sure Jared Gordon will be fine, but it is disappointing that he's still fighting.
We've never had anybody though die in the UFC after fighting.
Correct.
So.
Never fighting. That's never been the case. That is correct. I think we've never had, nobody's died in the UFC. Granted, there's been MMA deaths, there's been a lot of boxing deaths, but the UFC's been very fortunate that for the 30 years that they've been around, they've not had anybody die in the cage.
And look, it sounds terrible to say, but one day, and hopefully never, and hopefully not this week, it will probably happen. There'll be one.
Mm-hmm.
Probably be one. We hope not, right? We hope to God, God forbid, right? But you never know. I mean, that's one of the things when it comes to any sort of combat, man. That is one thing you could potentially sign up for is having a shorter lifespan.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's move on, man. It's got morbid real fast.
This got sad, man.
Angel, have I told you about? Just start talking about some real sad shit. This is sad
like,
away hours.
You know what? You would have been better if you just would be like, if you just throw an ad in there like, let's talk about some Rogue Energy, sponsored drink of the podcast.
Yeah, Angel. We're going from talking about dudes dying in a cage and to all of a sudden, ELYXR.com is the number one Delta 8 site. Angel, whenever I get high, I choose Delta. Like, it's just...
And then it gets followed up by our own version of Fucking Friday.
Like, whenever Dana hit his wife, and then 5 days later, he was doing Fucking Friday. It's exactly like that, dude.
Good.
But anyways, dude, in terms of the rest of the card, I'm obviously Jim Miller, Jared Gordon should be a banger. Tim Elliott coming back. And we always got to shout out Tim Elliott, dude. I mean, Kansas City's own, been in the game for a long time. And I really hope Tim Elliott gets a win. Like, above all else, I really hope he beats Victor Altamirano on Saturday night. I mean, Tim Elliott, dude, this poor guy, over the last, year, he had his coach go away because maybe he was fixing fights. We still don't know the status of James the Gambler Krause. We still don't know the status of him, And then his wife, UFC veteran Gina, what's that bitch's name? Gina Mazzani. I don't want to give her the decency of saying her actual name. Cheated on our boy Tim Elliott with his friend Kevin Kroon, who also fought in the UFC. I mean, if you want to talk about a bad year, dude, Tim Elliott had his coach, might be going to prison. His wife cheated on him with his friend and teammate in the UFC. So for that reason, dude, Tim Elliott needs to win bad on Saturday. I hope he goes out there and beats the shit out of Victor Altamirano, dude.
By the way, Glory as a whole doesn't exist anymore now, right?
They've
rebranded, right?
James Krause. They're not owned by James Krause. I'll say that much. I don't know for sure. They might have changed their name. I actually don't know, man.
I saw one of the gyms, I'm not gonna give out the streets and all that. I don't know why. I mean, it's public information. Well, down Metcalf, Josh. Fuck it. They had a Glory gym down Metcalf all the way down.
Yeah, another one.
And I saw that it wasn't named Glory when it was named something else.
It's named Ignite.
Yeah. So did they completely sell all the gyms and rebranded Ignite, or is that?
I believe so. I know James Krause had to sell his FAC promotion. As well as dude, he must be fucked. I think they must have him dead to rights, dude. If he's selling everything he owns, because it is, because the thing is he obviously they banned him from covering UFC, like cornering guys in the UFC, but he wasn't banned for Bellator, and he was only banned in Nevada too, from cornering. So things must be really bad for him to just completely straight up leave the business entirely.
Yeah, that's true. And delete all his social media, his YouTube, his Discord, and pretty much everything. Well, actually, did he delete his Instagram? I think he just completely, I don't know if he completely starts posting or one of the two, but I'm pretty sure he deleted it. I could be wrong. So I wonder who's going to be James Krause's corner. I wonder if it'll be a new gym or if it'll be the people from the gym just know James Krause.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I should actually probably do some digging on that, actually. Because I know, I mean, dude, Glory was coming on, man. I really thought. I mean, I thought Kansas City was better. Because we've always had Invicta, you know, and Glory's been around, but they were starting to really come on, you know. Honestly, I thought Kansas City was about to become like a hotbed for MMA, dude. Like,
we were peaking.
With Krause's promotion and with Glory, and then obviously Invicta, and they came here in April. I mean, yeah, man. And then all that gone in a snap. Just depressing. But yeah, man. I mean, I hope Tim Elliott gets a win on Saturday. That was the original point of the conversation, but I hope good things for that dude, man. I mean, just fucked up. Just fucked up. But, you know. Anyways, rest of the card, dude. I mean, Aku Barner Magomedov versus Ilzu Zaleski dos Santos. That's going to be a banger. Absolute banger, dude.
Banger.
For sure, man. For sure. I mean, looking at the rest of the card, we gotta shout him out every single time he fights. Andrei Arlovski, dude. I mean, every single time that I see Andrei Arlovski fighting, I'm still like, damn, like still? Like, it's just I mean, he's gonna be 45 next year, Angel. He's gonna be 45 next year. And the craziest part is that he's still won, like, what, 7 of his last 9 fights? 5 of his last 6?
Future champion.
I mean, he keeps on saying that he's still trying to make one last run. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if he genuinely believes it.
It's crazy that if he beats Tom Aspinall, his run would have been Felipe Lentz, Tana Bozer, Tom Aspinall, Chase Sherman, Carlos Felipe, Jarrett Vander, Jacob. Granted, not all those guys in there, not the greatest, but that would have been it's still a sick run regardless. Like, it's typical as fuck.
Yeah, I mean, dude, hey, Andrei Arlovski, you know, I know that he's got a weird place in the UFC right now, right? Like Arlovski, like obviously we love to give him props for like beating some of these guys, but like he's fighting pretty much the lowest level of heavyweight competition they have to offer. Now, granted, he's winning, and he's fighting on these Apex cards. I have so many questions. Like he's not fought at a non-Apex card. Like, dude, look at his record. Okay. The only time he's fought with a crowd one time in the last 4 years.
Hey man, it is what it is. Imagine
I know, but it's just so
they'd be
weird.
Fucked. They'd be fucked if he fought in a crowd.
It's just weird. Do you think that's it? Do you think maybe it's just Arlovski's choice? He's like, dude, I'm like 45.
By the way,
fuck the fans.
This will be his career 50th heavyweight bout. Listen, in the UFC.
Damn.
Pretty sure. Yep. So, that's typical, man. Or not 50th, 39th, my bad. 39th. I think I was looking like overall fights, but regardless, still big. Like, I think this would be number 40 or whatever. It's a lot of fights, man. Like, as a heavyweight too, in an MMA, like 40 professional fights strictly within the UFC, like that is something. I mean, that's a fucking accomplishment. I mean, that'll never be broken.
Yeah.
40 professional fights at heavyweight, never be broken. And with a sick early career run, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, he's Arlovski's a guy that, he's a weird place, man. He's simultaneously like he's a pioneer, but he's still fighting and beating guys in the modern era. He's a former champion, but I don't know where I'd place him in the all-time rankings just because he's fought for so long and he's fought everybody. Like, you know, if there's one thing that we can definitely say about Andrei Arlovski, there's no unanswered questions, you know? Like,
right?
We're not sitting around thinking like, damn, if only Arlovski would have fought this guy, you know? Like,
all right. Well, maybe in his prime years,
dude, look at his record. Is there a single guy you can think of that Andrei Arlovski, like, I mean, you can run it. He fought the guys in the OG, the Pioneer era.
Josh, you know someone out there who's like, but did he fight Francis?
He did.
Like, oh yeah. Oh wait, what the fuck?
You're proving my point, dog. Andrei Arlovski's fought every single relevant heavyweight to ever exist in MMA. Pretty much.
Wait, this was the fucking Jorge card. I fucking completely forgot about that.
Yeah, I mean, dude, think about it. He's even fighting guys in the modern era that are not relevant. But he fought Tom Aspinall. He fought Jairzinho Rosenstrike, Augusto Sakai, Ben Rothwell, Walt Harris, Shamil, Tai Tuivasa, Stefan Struve, Ngannou, Josh Barnett, Alistair Overeem, Stipe, Frank Mir, Travis Brown, Bigfoot Silva. He even fought acclaimed comedian Brendan Schaub.
Wow.
Yeah, great guy. Never met him. He fought Anthony Johnson, Tim Sylvia like 4 times. Fedor, Roy Nelson. Andre Arlovsky's fought basically every single person to ever exist in MMA. So shout out him, dude. I mean, a true OG, and he's back again. Fuck yeah.
He might not be all-time great heavyweight, but he's definitely one of the all-time best heavyweights, right?
For my money, I think Andre Arlovsky's the GOAT, if you ask me.
Right. He's up there, though.
Just not even straight up heavyweight. Just
I wonder if Fedor's last fight would have been Andre, how it would have gone.
I think Fedor probably beats Andre right now.
Right now. Fedor comes off the couch right now. They actually, Dontel Mays actually is a lizard person, and he morphs out of his skin into Fedor, into the cage.
Let's genuinely break this down. Do you think Dontel Mace is going to beat Andre?
No.
I don't think so either.
No. Just going to break that news. No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Regardless, though, let's move on to a pair of names that I completely forgot existed in the UFC at one point, and were supposed to fight last year, and I'm surprised they remade this fight. Maxime Grishin, Felipe Lynch, Josh. I got a 205 banger, pair of old dogs here. Fuck, dude, do you still remember these guys being on the roster? Like, I'm not trying to be an asshole, but I forgot that.
Wait, say their names?
Maxime Grishin and Felipe Lins.
Yeah. Well, what I can say about this fight. So, The Ultimate Fighter episode 1. Look, dude, Angel, here's the problem, right? I wanted to talk about, like, the state of the UFC, and we kind of did last week when we talked about, like, fighter pain stuff, but, like, I'm just gonna be real with you, dog. And I know this is the case for, like, a lot of other people. For a lot of these Apex cards, I'll watch them, and I'll cover them, and I'll talk about them on the show. But there are some fights that even the fighters on these cards have to know that they're filler. You know what I mean? Like, they have to, like, do you think Felipe Lins and Maxime Grishin, and I mean no offense to these guys have both had good wins, they both have solid careers, especially if they've made to the UFC. But do you genuinely think that either one of them, do you think that they think that people care about this fight? And I'm not trying to be mean.
Dude, their families care.
I think if you lined up, I'm not even joking, I think if you lined up 100 people in a room, and you asked them, and they're MMA fans, let me be clear here. I think if you lined up 100 MMA fans in one room, Angel, and they asked, are you excited for Felipe Lins versus Maxime Grishin? I think about half of them would ask who they are. Another 25 would ask, when did they fight? And another 25 would go, oh, there's a UFC card this weekend? Because nobody gives a fuck about these Apex cards, dog. So, yeah, no offense to these guys. I forgot Felipe Lins was on the roster.
That's what I was telling you, man. Like,
and a Maxime Grishin, similar case. So, yeah, man, is what it is. But in terms of things people do want to talk about, The Ultimate Fighter, Angel, it happened. The Ultimate Fighter episode 1 happened. Season 31 went down. Look, man, in terms of first shows, it was an introductory episode of a lot of these guys. There's not a whole lot to say. Obviously, in the one fight that we saw, Roosevelt Roberts knocked out Nate Jennerman. Roosevelt Roberts, obviously, Team Chandler. Nate Jennerman being Team McGregor. Look, man, it was a fine first episode. Give me your initial thoughts. Nothing too crazy that happened.
Overall, I think it was just an alright episode, man. It was the introduction, call it the pilot, call it whatever. And obviously, spoiler alert, if you didn't watch, spoiler alert, if you didn't watch the first episode, the first fight ended very quickly. But, if you're a diehard, and I say you keep up pretty regularly, and you might have already seen this finish, Roosevelt Roberts, who got highlight finished out of the UFC by Ignacio Bahamondes, was the first fight of the season, and gave us, what was it, like an 8-second finish, 10-second, what was it, Josh? Something crazy? And it was all over Instagram.
It was 8 seconds, I believe.
So a big one for him to come back to within, I guess, the UFC brand, because he has one since then outside of the UFC. I think he got like 2 wins outside of the promotion. So definitely kind of getting back on track, getting back where he was on before, hopefully, and he kind of talk about the episode a little bit. He kind of alluded like how he felt like he was only fighting to fight. What happened? You good?
Yeah, Twitter popped up and I had no idea I had sound on. I'll put my phone real quick to see if I missed anything.
God damn it, Josh! Now we got
Angel. You know that I do this to make sure that we have up to date content.
No, I know. I'm just joking around. But kind of to get back where we left off, he kind of talked about and I don't know if you remember, Josh, but he talked about kind of he left off his career and he was kind of just fighting the fight, fighting to make a paycheck, and now he's kind of fighting with more meaning, more significance behind it, and really wanting to get back in. And even after when he hopped over the cage and told Dana, he's like, I fucked up on my last contract, and I'm guessing saying something along the lines of like, I want to be back and I want to be great. And definitely a big statement went early on in the season, putting everybody on notice. And if you haven't watched or if you don't plan on watching, the season was vets and prospects or newcomers, whatever you want to call it. And for some reason decided to just split them in their own groups. 135er prospects all for one fighter rather than kind of each fighter kind of doing a draft and getting some prospects, some newcomers, which I kind of thought that was an L because I felt like that could have gave the whole season a better dynamic rather than just being prospects and newcomers. I don't know how you felt about that. What kind of your thoughts on that, Josh? That was kind of a big disappointment for me.
I mean, honestly, I'm really happy with the idea that they decided to go with, obviously, prospects versus vets. I gotta be honest, dude. I think that actually draws me in more than seeing entirely young guys. Not to say that I don't like seeing the young guys out there,
But what I'm saying is, don't you think it would have been better if they would have integrated just both groups? Like they would have done some kind of like hit draft style?
No, I actually disagree. I think it's more interesting for the current format that it is. Mm-hmm. I think it's far more interesting to have, like, for example, because you had a guy on there, and for example, you've seen a couple seasons of The Ultimate Fighter. Do you kind of like, even if you don't think they're gonna win, do you like pick out a guy where you're like, that's my guy right there,
There's always a guy you mess with. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah, like, but let me give you my Kurt Hollabaugh is my guy. You know what I mean? And this is why that format works, right? And this is why I disagree with you, because Kurt Hollabaugh, they highlight guys in certain episodes, and he actually got a bit of a close up. He talked a lot in the first episode. If you don't know Kurt Hollabaugh, I don't blame you, but he was a guy who, dude, like, this guy fought in Strikeforce, dog. Like, he fought in the UFC a decade ago. He's had 2 UFC runs, and then he got cut back in like 2013. He came in 2018, lost 3 fights in a row, got cut again. He won a couple regional fights, and you see him talking there, and he's talking like, dude, like, I've come this far. I've not come this far just to lose to a couple of these prospects. I finished them all in the first round. Fuck it. Just like he's got that old vet mentality that, like, seeing that, and then you see him talking to Roosevelt Roberts too, who's like another guy who's been here, done that, another veteran, and they're talking like, it's cool to see that they have that in common. I don't think if you would have blended the teams, you would have had the same.
Or not even just that, but I wish that each group would have got 1 and 1. You know what I mean? Just because
maybe, yeah.
I just would have liked the variety. I would have think it would have been cool to mix it because I would have liked the dynamic of having these vets also kind of giving advice to these guys who are young and maybe capturing some of those moments. You know what I mean? On top of that, because look, the established guys know how to fight. Most of them are probably going to have a more rounded game than the young guys for the most part. But granted, they're prospects, so there's something to them. Yeah, no, I mean that was just kind of my personal thoughts on it. I'm sure maybe some people agree with me, some people disagree with me. Some people probably just don't even give a fuck. They just want to see these guys fight. You know what I mean? I bet you if you told them this is a group of guys, you didn't tell them who was prospects and who was vets, they wouldn't even fucking know the difference until they saw the records.
That is true, and there are a couple of guys like the first episode. I believe was Dave Jennerman, right? That is his name, Jennerman. Just want to make sure I'm saying it correctly, but
like that.
Yeah, something like that. And I believe he's older than Roosevelt. Yeah, he's older than Roosevelt Roberts, I believe.
I looked it up. Nate Jennerman.
Nate Jennerman. Yeah, and he was the prospect in that fight. So, I kind of see your point. I also think that because of, the formatting of prospect versus veteran, you're getting to get some weird fights, like whenever Nate's the prospect and he's like the older guy. So, because a lot of these UFC vets guys are still young. They were just guys that got cut early,
Mm-hmm. You know what my favorite part of the show was though? How instantly you could tell who's Conor guys were, the guys who made space for her, you know?
Oh my god, dude, he was dapping him up.
He's like, "What's up, my guy?" But shout out to, oh my god, what's his name? He resides in Canada but trains out of SVG. We talked about him earlier, Josh. The one who won tough.
Yeah.
Oh man, and he doesn't even he has a name that I wouldn't associate with him. For one,
Brad Katona.
Yeah, I liked what he said. He's like, I'm on Chandler's team. My agent's anywhere. I'm not this team or that team. I'm here for myself. I'm here for Brad Katona. I was like, I fuck with that. So, and granted, that's how it should be, right? At the end of the day, you're fighting for yourself. You're not fighting for your team.
Yeah.
And you're gonna end up fighting your own teammate anyways on the fucking show. Which that's always fucking, that's sad and it's very sad, man, especially if they're two guys who get along.
Yeah. I mean, by the way, you mentioned the whole thing about Conor kicking guys off the show. What do you think about that? I did not think that was a big deal, honestly.
Man, it's fucked up. This could happen to anybody. It's gonna happen in any field, bro. If you know people, doors can open for you, and that's simply what this was.
Yeah, and I don't really feel bad about it either, because the guys that got cut, quote unquote, cut from the Ultimate Fighter, they're going to be used either on the Contender Series. Spoiler alert. They're going to be used on the Contender Series, or they're going to be used on Day Am I Looking for a Fight. That already happened. So
yeah,
they're getting their chance still.
Yeah, they'll get their call up.
Conor just backed his boys, and I got to be honest with you, in his spot, I do the same. So
yeah, so they'll get their call up hopefully. And plus that we already saw there was like a kind of a teaser. There's this injury later in the season, so someone might actually get a return.
But there you go. So
those guys already have the one important thing is, dude, if the UFC had your eye on you at one point, trust me, they'll probably reach out at some point if they need you on short notice or something. For the most part, not everybody. What was the one guy on Tough who made it to the Skeletor? Like, he never got like a call up or return anything. I thought he was gonna come back.
There's some guys that they must have just be assholes behind the scene or something, because the UFC, to their credit, they generally give those guys on Tough, even if they lose one fight. Even if they lose, two fights in the house, they'll find a way to, maybe get you on the contender. Like, Michael Gilmore, for example. He was a guy that lost twice in the house, I think, and got 2 fights in the UFC just because, he was a nice guy. He took fights on short notice. But there are some dudes that just don't get another chance off Tough. I don't get it. But,
and by the way, when I was referring to Skeletor, I wasn't referring to Reese McGee Skeletor. I was referring to Joe Giannotti.
No, I know Joe Giannotti. I've heard he's an asshole.
Giannotti. Is he actually? Well, fuck.
I've heard from multiple people, close people, that he's just a dick. So I don't know. But he was young. I will say he was young when he was on that season of Tough, and I'm not pleasant all the time anyway either. So not trying to shame him, and just I've heard bad things.
But I'm just saying, I'm just surprised he never got a Bellator or anything like that or call it. But it was just I thought he was someone they were gonna probably bring back because. Fuck, I mean, how old was he? Because he's, well, actually, I'm looking at it right now.
He's not even old now, I think.
He's 27. He's 27 now.
Yeah.
That was back in 2018, so let's see how, fucking, do the math on that. Do the calculate.
I'm not doing the math. Wait a minute, how old is he now? He's 27? He was on Tough,
2018.
So he would have been 21.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I'm an asshole now, so there you go. I mean.
Yeah, we're talking about a guy who was 21 on the show, made it to the finale, right? And I'm pretty sure he made it to the finale. I could be. Am I right or wrong on that? He made it to the finale.
No, yeah, he made it to the finale.
Mike Trezano.
That fight also sucked, though, so that may have played a role.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that didn't help. But look, his career outside of that, though, has been exciting. A lot of finishes, and even a late round finish in cage time, and 4th round finish, some shit like that. I saw earlier in the day when I was looking through shit. But regardless, overall, I know you asked me how. I don't know if you gave it. How did you rate the episode as a whole? And granted, I saw a mixture of everything, man. I saw everything from a 7 and an 8 to a fucking 4 and a 3, a 6. I saw a variety of scorecards. I mean, I think if you took a fucking average, it'd probably be 6.5, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to do 6 on the scale of 1 to 10 is fair, right? It's slightly above average, I guess. So
yeah, it's passing. I mean, that's literally what it is.
It's passing. So yeah, that's about how I feel about it. I thought Ultimate Fighter episode 1, if I had to give it a quick review, yeah, 6.5 out of 10. I mean, there was not a whole lot to really see in episode 1. You know what I mean? Roosevelt Roberts got an 8-second knockout. That was pretty sick. You saw a little bit of the trash talk in there, with Conor and Chandler, and whenever Conor was talking to him in the training room, and Chandler, to his credit, tried to throw some bars back at him. He's like, I'll do 185. I don't care. And Conor just instantly shut him down. It's like, you'll do what you're told. You know, like just
That shit went hard, bro.
it did go hard. I mean, that was a The Rock, like circa 1999, like shut up, bitch. Like,
by the way, Conor coming to everything like dressed in a suit. This fucking guy did.
Yeah, dressed to the nines, dude. Like,
yeah, I mean, but that's Conor for you. That's part of the showmanship, right? Even Chandler said it, man. That is Conor, the Conor walk, everything.
But dude, I was like, whenever I saw their first interaction, and whenever Conor cause, I mean, you know, what's the Max Holloway saying whenever he was talking shit to Brian Ortega, which low key was the hardest shit of all time? He said something like, you know, Brian Ortega, he was going off of Brian Ortega, and Brian Ortega said, you know, hey, sometimes the best response is no response. And Max Holloway said, sometimes you don't have a response. That was Michael Chandler, dog. Like, Conor left him speechless, you know. He was like, you'll do what you're told. You know, you'll fight at what weight class I say. And Chandler just sat there sitting like, yeah, he's kind of right. Like, it's just,
you know, but I think the big thing for everybody, and look, if you weren't satisfied with this episode, looking forward though, and we already saw in the highlights, there's a lot more trash talk. There's longer fights. We see that Conor's team doesn't get ran through because I saw something. I think I saw some Reddit thread. They're like, I think Conor's someone saying along the lines like, I think Conor's team's gonna get ran through, but we saw that's not gonna happen because we believe at least, I don't know this for a fact, but there was some after episode like highlights of him getting hype and be like, you know, like, oh shit, let's go, you know, we got it, and we saw a fight in there that looked like a fucking banger, hella bloody, sliced down the fucking forehead, you know, like, we're due for some big moments, some pushing, the obviously the coaches challenges which are gonna come up, and kind of all those interactions, and you know, these guys are fucking competitors at heart, so any competition they're gonna want to beat each other at every moment, so. We're due for a good season. I mean, this is definitely be better than the last season. I honestly don't think the previous seasons were bad. I just think, in a way, those two previous seasons were building up to this one in a way. So I think that's a good thing. Honestly, I don't think that their overall plan was like, oh, we're going to get a Conor Chandler season. But what I'm saying is, we've gotten the proper build up from the last two sub-seasons to the one we're in now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was fun seeing everybody talk about Tough again, man. I mean, as like an old school fan, you know, I still watch Tough. I watched Tough, like Amanda Nunes, Juliana Pena, whenever there was like 7 people tweeting about it. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's been watching the latest seasons. So somebody's like an old school fan who watches like every season, it's like, I don't even know what to compare it to. It's like seeing like a lot of people come back to like one of your favorite hobbies. You know what I mean? Like,
no, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So, yeah,
by the way, I know we're not this far ahead. We know we're not all the way out there, but hypothetically speaking, right? You know, let's say, you know, they kept Tough going. Some of us didn't think we were gonna get another Tough season after fucking Ortega Volk, but we got Juliana Pena Amanda. After this season, who would you like to see as the next Tough coaches? I know this is so far out. This is so far ahead.
I don't think it's that far ahead because they do it once a year. So probably this time next year, they'll probably be doing another one.
You know what I'd love to see, but a lot of things have to go perfect. Let's just say hypothetically, Alex Pereira wins it 2-off, he beats Jan Blachowicz.
Oh my god!
And then Izzy gets the fucking call up, you know, to fight Jamal Hill in Australia. That whole fucking thread I sent you. He beats Jamal Hill in Australia. Fucking they're like fucking Alex Pereira, number 1 contender, 205. Izzy Pereira series. New Zealand, Nigerian, Australian fighters on Izzy's team versus all Brazil squad. Let's go. Give it to me, baby.
That's not a bad idea, dude. That's actually a really good idea.
Too many things have to go too well, though. So.
That is true.
But I'll get people hyped up. By the way, that's a great TikTok right there.
Yeah, I was already thinking about it in my head. Yeah, I mean that's not a bad idea, man. I think the thing about the Ultimate Fighter is I guess I'd have to just wait because right now that's a clear pick, but like I don't know anybody else right now.
Everything could change. I mean, we could have like let's say here in a few months if Moreno defends his title against Pantoja, a flyweight season would be awesome. I'd be down for that. And then once again, you could do like I don't know whoever they would want to pick, or but you know they could do hypothetically, right? They do Brandon Royval, Brandon Moreno, you know, all Mexican fighter season, something like that, or Mexican American versus Mexican native, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. I think there's some cool things they could do. But just to kind of close out, my thoughts on the first episode of Tough 31. Fun, man. Like, did you give it your rating? I know I said 6.
I'd probably fall around there too, 6.5. I think
that's about how I feel.
It was passable, man. Like I said, it was pilot.
That's about how I feel about it, honestly. Anyways, man, I think it's about time we move on to some news, and because we have a fair bit of it. Because I actually declined to talk about. I have to admit, I kind of fucked up. And last week, I should have taken the hit. I'll take the hit right now. Because I said I'm not going to talk about Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence. I don't think it's going to become official. I don't think it's going to happen. Because I saw this story too many times, and Angel was like, "Dude, we should talk about it. Like, it might be official this week." I'm like, "Nah, man, it's not fucking happening." And then, sure enough, it is official. It is official. Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford going down July 29th, Showtime pay-per-view from Sin City, Las Vegas. Angel, give me your thoughts, man. It's finally official. We've been wanting to see this fight for years. It's finally going down.
God fucking bless, man. Fucking finally. They did it. Boxing did it somehow. I don't know how the fuck they did it, but they fucking did it. But the big thing is, man, for me, it's not a lot of time for this big of a fight. I mean, I'm assuming they've been in negotiations for a while behind closed doors, contracts being set. Obviously, they've been doing it for fucking years. We know that already, right? But I'm saying in the last few months, you know what I mean? I'm assuming they've been going back and forth and kind of got to something, but it was just kind of like, I'm assuming it was like gentleman's agreement, like, hey, we're done. We just need the paperwork filled out, all the fucking, where it's going to be at and all that. But as far as that, we agree, done deal. Mm-hmm. Josh, I mean, it's what is it, 2 months, right? Mm-hmm. A little bit over 2 months when these guys fight. The other big thing, Josh, is it's also the same night as Poirier Gaethje 2. So the UFC will be battling against one of the most desired fights in boxing in recent years, the most wanted one, with probably one of the most exciting fights you can put in the UFC right now. Who will prevail?
Is that are you actually genuinely asking me? Like, which one do I think is gonna do better?
I was making the blanket statement, but if you want to,
okay.
If you want to actually respond, feel free to.
I mean, because this is something I've also thought about. Because I love the business side of fighting. Like I've made that clear on this show a bit. I think the business side is very interesting. Partially because I'm partially within the business side because I also do social media stuff for companies and so on and so forth. Well, I'm not going to tell you which one. It's just, you guys don't got to know which posts I'm making for which place I work for. But regardless, it's just so I do know about that side of the stuff. But I think. I don't know, man. I generally think Terence Crawford and Errol Spence, that fight's going to not do nearly as well as people think. And that's just from my own experience. My own experience of covering both those guys personally. And obviously, look, right? Like, for example, Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia have never done anything on pay-per-view, and then they did 1.2 when they fought each other. But I always felt like even then, those guys had like a higher, ceiling. But maybe I'll be wrong. I mean, Errol's pulled as much as $350,000 for a pay-per-view. Bud is maxed out at 100,000, so I don't know. I think that Dustin Poirier versus Justin Gaethje match is going to do huge numbers. I really think so. Because as much as people say they hate the BMF belt, you know who loves the BMF belt and stuff like that? Casual fans. Casual fans love that shit. Like, people forget, UFC 244, there's a reason why that fight, like, with The Rock was there, Nate Diaz, Jorge Masvidal, they were at MSG. That was the biggest pay-per-view that year. And there wasn't even a real title on the line. Just because the BMF, we all kind of, as much as we all shit on, we were all like, you know what? A one-off? This could be fun. So I think UFC 291 will probably do fine. I think
and it's stacked, too. That's the other big thing.
Do you think that they'll do a Canelo Kovalev and make them sit on the couch?
I don't know. I don't know. I think something. I think they'll say fuck it and they'll go. I think both of them will. They're like, fuck it. We're both competing tonight. We're not gonna sit out for someone else, and we're gonna let the fans choose. You know what I mean? I think that is the proper way to go about it. But yeah, no. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, it's gonna be crazy to see what those numbers are because, I mean, Dustin's gained a lot of fandom, especially right now. Connor's, is gonna getting back into the mix. There's gonna be a little chirping there, a little Conor action. Some go back and forth on Twitter. I'm sure Conor might be there to watch the fight. Who knows? Maybe Conor will cuck us and go. No, there's no way Conor cucks them and goes and watches Earl and fucking Bud. Could you imagine?
Connor's just he's a huge boxing fan right now. He's just really into it.
But yeah, and look, you also have guys like Alex Mejia who's getting some attention. Paulo, who has a following, Wonder Boy, Derek Lewis. I mean, you got a lot. Kevin Holland, Tony. I mean, it's a card that will attract and I think will most definitely compete with the Bud and Spence fight.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited for it, man. I think it's going to be a huge fight. You know, we're going to preview it in about less than 2 months now, but I do want to get your early thoughts. Who are you leaning towards? I mean, it's pretty much a 50-50 matchup if we're being completely honest, but.
I mean, it's a 50-50 matchup, you know, let's lay it out there. I've always been on the Bud train, man. I'm going to stick on to it for now. I mean, who knows here in a few months if I change my mind or not. I don't think I will, but, you know, there's an early pick for everybody.
Yeah. I'm leaning towards Bud, just to be straight up. But he's also, you know, he's, you know, getting a bit up there in age. Who knows? I mean, and then again, on Errol's side, he's taking a shit ton of damage, so it almost evens out, you know?
Granted, though, I think he's getting him right. Like, this is the time, though. This is the point where you either slow down or you're beginning to slow down. You know what I mean? Like, there's probably, this is as late as it could be, to be honest. This is the latest they could have done it. And it's good that it's happening now. Not in a year or 2 years. Like, right now it's the moment. And like I said, it's a little longer, and I think it would have been a little sketchy. And granted, we'll see kind of where Bud is career-wise after this fight. I think that's another thing because, like you said, he's getting a little bit up there in age, especially at a lighter class at 35 years old, going on 36 this year. I mean, this is those prime years, and then kind of the point where you might be exiting not too long from now, too.
Mm-hmm. So, and ultimately, that's kind of, and also we should know these guys have not fought in a while either, so there's a bit of.
Yep.
We'll see what happens. There's more unknowns going into this fight.
Wait, how long? You know, kind of. I don't want to end the conversation there just yet. But how long has it been? How long has it been since Errol fought? I know it's actually quite a bit.
A year, over a year.
Yeah,
he fought early May last year. Terence has not fought since December, so it's not been that long. But even then, he fought David Avison, so that was basically just a squash match, basically in his home state.
I will say, man, though, but there's nothing like being proactive, being in fight camp, getting better, though. You know what I mean? Even if you're still going to fuck up a guy, he's still in that mindset of, like, you never know what a guy can present, and people will, you know, that guy could show up on that night and, you know, give us a surprise.
Yeah, true. You know, I do generally think this is a super exciting fight. Like 50-50. It's so rare that we get 50-50 matchups. Even like Ryan Garcia, Gervonta Davis. I mean, as big as fans we are of Ryan, I remember thinking going in, like, he could do some things, but I expected Gervonta to win, like 90% of the way. I would have been very fucking shocked if Ryan pulled it off. This fight, you know, like I said, I am leaning towards Bud. Whenever I say leaning, I mean, if Errol Spence goes out there and just annihilates him, I would not be surprised. Like, I think anything can happen when you get two guys like this. I saw Shakur Stevenson put it really well. He was like, you know, I saw he did an interview with, I don't know who, but like, you know, and he phrased it really well, which I don't like Shakur a whole lot, so I have to give him props for this one though. He said, like, these two are thoroughbreds. They want to fight, you know, like, above all else, not above all, like above boxing, above belts, above money. These are two dudes who love to fight. This fight's not going the distance. There's not going to be a robbery here. You know what I mean? Like, it's just somebody's going down.
No matter what, it'll be a conclusive result.
That's about how I feel. Yeah.
That's actually the best way to put it. It will be a decisive result. It will be clear who won that fight. There will be no but, ifs, or wins, or who's, or what's. We only do absolutes, and that's what we'll get on that night.
Yeah. It's a good way to put it. That's a good way to put it, man. I'm very excited for it, but we should move on because I don't want to preview it too much because, like I said, that fight's going down in less than 2 months. I love that it seems like big boxing matches lately, they're announcing it, and then boom, the fight happens. You know what I mean? I love that shit. But, you know, that being said, we do got to talk about it. We have some disappointing news, ladies and gentlemen. Disappointing news. In fact, the worst news I've gotten, the worst thing that's happened since I woke up this morning. You know?
Jesus, John. Look, I'm not going to say what I said exactly before we got on air, but I'll put it like this, guys. This was as heartbreaking as I found out when Jared Fogle did the worst possible thing a human being, let alone, especially, and not even especially, any adult could do. Anything, you know, one of the worst things.
Okay.
Something a human being can't come back from.
It's the two worst times Angel's been ever disappointed in his entire life is the Subway guy turning out to be a pedophile, and then Razor Rod Wilkinson testing positive for steroids this morning.
It wasn't this morning. I think it was like a day or two ago.
Doesn't matter. Those are the worst 2 moments of your entire life.
Well, dude, and how could I ever forget October 2008? January. No, I was kidding.
Wait, what was it in 2008?
That was like October 3rd, and then I jumped to January.
Oh, okay. I get it.
I'm gonna give a random day. Or shit that happened.
Angel. But it was January 7th, 2007. I had just sat down to start playing Halo 3. You know, like just.
I'll do you one better. February 16th, 2001, the day I was born.
I thought you were gonna go some shit like January 6th, 2021. They arrested me up at the Capitol.
No. Definitely did not happen.
Angel, I was doing it for the freedom. I'm a patriot, Angel.
Josh said I was
up there with Jake Shields and
Jesus.
Fucking all of them, man. You know, there were 2 MMA fighters that were up there on Jan 6. It was a guy who I don't know who had like a couple of AMI fights. And then, do you know the other guy that was up there?
Is someone we know?
Dude, I'm surprised that it did never get media attention. Granted, it's MMA, but still, I thought it was.
Could you kind of point me in the direction? Like, I actually want to guess.
They are a UFC Hall of Famer, former champion, and they were on there on Jan 6.
What?
Up there with the Patriots. You know?
What weight class?
Welterweight and middleweight.
Welterweight and middleweight. Was this their boy Matt Hughes?
No. Although I'm sure Matt wishes he could have been there.
Well, Matt didn't compete at middleweight, so I don't know. Who was it?
Yeah, well, it was Pat Miletich, dude.
Pat Miletich was there?
Dude, Pat Miletich he was out there on Jan 6th, up there riding with the other. Apparently, he was fired from ESPN afterwards, but must have been low key because I barely remember this happening. You know, you didn't even know.
It had to been because I never heard about it. I mean, it's been how many 2 years now since that?
It's been 2.5 years since. I shouldn't laugh about it because there were like 5 people that died, and that was terrible. But just the mention of the Gravy Seals up there every single time, it always does crack me up. But you know, I think we should. Did you crack up at Gravy Seals?
No, I was just like the Croatian sensation was at the fucking Capitol that day.
The Croatian sensation. Anyways, but yeah, I mean, back to the original news. Razor Rob Wilkinson, who we've hyped up on this show for like a long time, ever since his PFL debut back last year, we've been hyping him up. He just beat Thiago Santos, and then he tested positive. And he's now been replaced by Ty Flores. He's out of the tournament.
You know,
God damn it.
I should say, I could act like I'm surprised, but I'd be lying to y'all because I looked at him and I was like, damn. But I'm not going to admit it to myself. You know what I mean?
Angel, I think that you're part of Big Pharma right now.
You know,
Big Pharma is trying to take down Rob Wilkinson.
But Josh, you know what's even funnier though? That Thiago Santos also tested positive, who was his fucking opponent. So, like, what the fuck, man? You know what I mean? By the way, that hasn't been taken off his record yet. At least what I can see on Tapology. But I guess since they were both 30, why even get rid of it, right?
Yeah.
Why the fuck would you? They also had our guy, Christoph Jocko, right? It was another one?
Yeah.
Fucking lost his fight. So, clearly didn't fucking help him.
Yeah, dude, Christoph Jocko. Dude, shout out USADA, who apparently have just been sitting on their asses. I don't, like, this is why I don't care about the whole... Dude, this is why I don't care about the Conor thing. This is why I don't care about the Conor, like, skipping USADA thing. Like, USADA never catches fucking anybody. Like, Christoph Jocko was just in the UFC.
No, but what I'm getting at is, was this USADA or was this the State Athletic Commission that caught him?
This was the State Athletic Commission that caught all these guys. PFL doesn't have USADA.
That's what I was asking. That was asking.
Yeah. So this was just Nevada. Yeah,
shout out Nevada, bro. Like, honestly?
I mean, here's the thing, is I don't get how they did it, because, dude, like, these drug tests, like, state drug tests are different from USADA. Anybody that's listening to this, you don't know, USADA tests you randomly. They'll show up at your house at 3 a.m. Nevada, they'll tell you, hey, 7 a.m. on fight week on Tuesday, you have a drug test.
So you get all the time in the world to do whatever the fuck you need to do.
And then post-fight, they'll test you, too. Like, right after you get done, they'll bring you on into the back. How do these people keep on
I wonder how they caught him though. Like you got to think about that. Like they already had their eye on them somehow. They were like, hey, we need to do something. And then like you know what I mean? Like there's like either these guys terribly fucked up on whatever the fuck they were doing, or the state athletic commission did a really good job and actually like figured out like, hey, these guys need to be on top of that shit.
Yeah, I mean, from my own experiences with athletic commissions, it's probably the fact just they probably lucked into this situation because we're just talking about. Actually, I only think.
But Josh, the thing is though.
Oh, it wasn't bad. Okay, never mind.
But the thing is though, Josh, it's the fact that they caught multiple at the same time though.
No, I know. So
it'd be different if they got one.
Did they not know they were being drug tested? Like, what the fuck?
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm giving them the fucking kudos. Like, they did something right. I don't know what the fuck it was. Like, I really wish we had more insider information on this, like exactly how it all went down. If they had like,
and for the record, I've asked around. I haven't heard anything.
If they had,
I've tried to get to the bottom of this. I've asked some of like the people that I know that have like are more connected than I am, and they don't know either.
I don't know. Hopefully we get some news. Someone. I wish we could talk to someone. I wonder if we could actually like reach out to the Nevada State Athletic Commission anyway and like talk to them.
I think you should use your connections as a member of the Courtside Soundoff podcast. No, I mean I can go ahead and I can email them. I mean all that stuff is public information. So, but the thing is, it's just a question if they'll get back to me.
Well, true. Hey, no harm in trying, right?
Yeah. But anyways, man, shout out Rob Wilkinson, dude. God damn. I mean, I can't lie. I'm on the same page as you. Like I talk about it a couple times. I've mentioned it. I've made jokes before. I don't know if I've ever said it. I'm absolutely on the spectrum. In case it's clear, if you've never heard me speak, it's just I'm 100% on the spectrum, guys. It's just
oddly relatable. Oddly relatable.
You know what's funny is I only found out like a couple months ago. So finding out I was on the spectrum at like 21 was big news because it was big news to me and nobody else. But it's just
you know
but dude, back to my original point. I'm on the spectrum, Angel, but I'm not stupid. I did not think that Rob
is the point. I'm on the same wavelength, dude. I am also a little special. You know, sometimes I have a little bit of trouble. You know, I do certain things. Like, you know something? Can I tell you a quick story? I know we don't like. It is literally like just like some random.
We're almost at the end of the show anyway.
But dude, I was at work one day and we have a fucking vending machine at work. Keep in mind, I never drink pop, so I never really think about it. And my coworker asked me, she's like, "Hey, can you give me Diet Coke?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure thing." And in my head, I was like, "Oh, fucking, I don't even know." For some reason, I thought she told me to go to Quick Trip, or I thought she would get them from Quick Trip, or she said bottle too, and not can, because it's cans in the vending machine. And my mind thought, oh, maybe she wants it for fucking Quick Trip. So and now keep in mind, I'm already leaving work. I clocked out. So I went to fucking Quick Trip with the money she gave me, which was like $2, and it was $1 short of the money I needed to get her 2 cans of the big, because they were slightly bigger than the regular cans like Quick Trip. And I brought them, and I bring them back, and I give them to my supervisor, essentially, or not the supervisor, but the person who relieved me. And I'm like, "Here, can you give this to so and so?" And she's like, "Why didn't you just use the vending machine here?" And I was like, "You know, I never thought about that."
That's a great response. I didn't think about it.
And, you know, it's funny. I was like, damn, she even shorted me like $1. I didn't have enough. I had to throw in $1 of my own to fucking pay for it, you know?
Why we're the greatest combat sports podcast. We've been sitting. Everybody talks about combat and they talk about fighting, but do they talk about those times where they're on the spectrum? You know,
hey man,
I just talk about the times where they're straight up autistic.
Hey man, I'm just want to share my story, man. Just try to share my story, give my case. You know what I mean?
I hear you, man. I think that anyways, you know, this really took a turn. But my original point that I was going to say with this is like, I'm definitely on the spectrum, you know, like 100%. But that being said, I'm not stupid. And there's a big difference between the two.
When you said that, I got like major Alex Jones vibes.
I can't repeat what Alex said, but
you know I will, Josh. I'm not scared.
if you do, just you know, you'll have the timestamp it so I can bleep it out. But
will I actually?
No, don't actually do it, please. It's just I don't want to.
You think, Josh, fuck you.
No, don't do it. No.
You think I'm gonna use that word? I'm gonna use different. Not kidding.
No.
No, I'm just kidding.
But anyways, man. I mean, but I was just gonna say, yeah, like I'm on the spectrum, dude, but I'm not fucking stupid. I don't think Rob Wilkinson magically put on like 30 pounds of muscle in the year that he was gone from.
He's gone for more than a year. Come on, dude. He's been out for
I mean, still, like, I don't think he put on 30 and he was shredded out of his fucking tree, dude. Like, he's peeled out of his fucking tree. Okay.
Actually, let me look. I'm actually curious because he had been gone for a while. He had done other competitions before getting into the PFL. So he got cut in 2018, didn't compete until 2019, and didn't join the PFL until 2022. So there was a fair bit of time, Josh.
All right. Well, he still looked like a completely different human being. If we're talking, he looked like fucking.
Don't get me wrong, he still could have looked massive without doing what he did, but damn, did he look a little extra juicy.
Angel, like, there's like a picture I put up on like my Instagram. It's a picture of me standing next to a wax figure of John Cena, and John Cena looks like massive compared to me. That's what Rob Wilkinson. That's Rob Wilkinson. You put side by him in the UFC versus him in PFL.
Granted though, Rob was a 185er cutting, and now he's a 205er who cuts much less, or is
his big ass is cutting.
Or weighs way more, or who weighs much more now, and he's cutting weight to make 205.
Fair enough.
Yeah, like he might have been floating in the 200-pound range, a little extra here. But
regardless, I knew that he was on substances the whole time. Is my original point.
Oh yeah. No, we're not. That is the point.
We're just joking. We've been big Razor Rob fans because of his drug use. No, I'm just
dude. This is all bullshit. Razor Rob is absolutely batty, dude. Just wait till play some more dates talks.
Dude, Razor Rob, his testosterone was so high. They was so high, and that's why he tested positive. But they must have caught him on a light day, because you know that he's the alpha male of our species. Razor Rob. Dude, we just start going the other direction. We're just like doing PR for him at this point.
We're actually
the check came in halfway through the show, so we had to start changing our tune,
Goodness sake, man.
Anyways,
next topic.
Bellator versus Rise, and it's going down. Bellator, this card going down in late July, I believe. Saitama Super Arena. 5 Bellator fighters versus 5 Ryzen fighters, same as last year. And last year, if you remember correctly, Bellator did a clean fucking sweep. This year they will attempt to do the same. What do you think about this, man? What do you think about this news? Obviously, they announced that Koichi Horiguchi will be fighting for the vacant Bellator flyweight title on this card, as well as AJ McKee versus Patricky Pitbull.
Is vacant really the problem? It's really inaugural, right? Like, I guess it's vacant because obviously no one told you, but it's the inaugural, flyweight championship for the fucking Bellator promotion. I guess that's probably the better way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, though, we have 3 fights announced so far. AJ McKee, Patricky Pitbull, Kyoji Horiguchi versus Makoto Shinryu, young fighter, 16-1-1. Crazy fucking Tapology picture. If you haven't looked at it, just fucking screaming with the green hair.
He's a bad motherfucker too. I think he's won 6 fights in a row, I want to say.
Yeah. Conor Watanabe, Veta Ortega also on the card so far. More to be announced soon. Fuck, man. I'm excited, man. Honestly, I watched I tried my best, actually, I should say. There's a lot of failed attempts to watch the Bellator Rising event live. I did eventually get it after spending some extra money. I'm not going to get into all that. I got to wait for it a little. We're 2 months away or whatever, or a month away or whatever at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know. Regardless, I'm excited, man. Another event in Japan. There's just something about it. Them fighting in Japan, being in the ring, that it's so fucking fun, dude, honestly. I honestly love and on top of that, are they going to be fighting under the Ryzen rules?
Yes, same as last year.
So AJ will be competing against Patricky within the Ryzen rules, even though they're competing for the Bellator title.
Yeah.
That's cool. I respect that.
Yeah, man, I think that this is I'm glad this is happening. I'm really happy that they did not just make it a one-off. So yeah, admittedly not so many thoughts on this one. I think it's going to be fun. I'm very excited for it. But I do think that, I think this is probably going to be, and no offense to Ryzen, but I just think their talent roster has always, they've, completely, we talk about, the stat rankings of MMA. If you're ranking promotions, obviously UFC is number 1. For years it was Bellator number 2. I'm starting to think PFL or 1 is entering that category. Ryzen at one point was arguably 2 or 3, and now it's I feel like I never hear about Ryzen anymore if it's not one of these really massive shows, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Granted, it's Japanese MMA, but I don't know. It's interesting.
Come on, Josh. They've never done anything dirty in the sport.
Anyways, man, yeah, I'm excited for that. I'm having Bellator rise and do more co-promotion. This is going to be an interesting conversation. This is the next subject.
Can you preface it though, like so people understand?
Yeah. No, of course.
And by the way, if we do make a clip out of this, please add that so people aren't dumb.
That's what I'm planning on doing. So Sean Strickland has a podcast.
Now
he has a podcast alongside fellow friend in middleweight Chris Curtis. They have their podcast. On their first episode, they talked about could Brandon Moreno beat up an NFL linebacker in a fight? Angel, first take. Could Brandon Moreno, UFC flyweight champion, 125 pounds, about 5'5", do you think he could do it?
Yes.
Straight up, yes.
Yes. Now, let me say this. This does not mean there wouldn't be some issues during the exchange. I think when people think this, they're thinking fucking Brandon's gonna go out there and fucking one punch this guy and get him out of there. You know what I mean? I think that in the exchange, Brandon should beat an NFL linebacker. That doesn't mean it will come without trouble, though.
Yeah, I fall somewhere in the middle on it, I think. Here's the reality, right? If you're somebody that's like, like for example, we saw did you see the Bradley Martin, Devin Haney talk?
Yes.
So Bradley Martin, who's this big I don't even know, he's even like a bodybuilder or anything, or is he just a big YouTuber? He's just a big guy that's a YouTuber.
He's just a fitness guy who at one point, I think, during his life, thought about doing bodybuilding, but regardless, his whole thing is fitness. Like, he runs a fitness channel, he owns a gym, like, that's his whole thing.
Okay, so this dumbass said that he beat up Devin Haney in a fight. And it's just...
He didn't really say that, but...
He said in a street fight.
Yes, okay, like, let's, I don't want...
And to be fair, I think that's more agreeable than an NFL linebacker beating up Brandon Moreno. I think that's more agreeable. Just because, Brandon actually has grappling experience. If Brandon gets his hands on a hold of an NFL linebacker, it's GG. And here's the thing that a lot of people also don't think about. Like, dude, like, size is huge in a fight. 100%, dude. Like, Brandon Moreno is like 5'5", 5'6", probably 140, 145 out of camp. But, like, the guy knows how to grapple. He knows how to punch. Like, most people don't even know how to throw a good fucking punch. You know what I mean?
That's not even the other thing, moving. You'd be moving around. It sounds very funny and it sounds very dumb. But dude, the fact that and I think it's something that even Devin said. He's like, dude, I just it's just because I'd be able to move. I'd be able to get to there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and cardio too. I mean, that's another big part of it. Like, if you've never fought before or if you've never tried to actively, like, just do me a favor. Like, just you listen to this right now. You go and you've never done it before. Go sign up. You don't have to sign up for you don't got to go to the school of hard knocks. Just go sign up for a fucking simple fitness boxing class, dude.
No,
you'll die.
not even that, Josh. Go shadowbox.
Shadowbox, yeah.
Like, actually shadowbox. Like, actually try to actively shadowbox. You'll be surprised.
So you know how like we know that I mean, like, look, obviously you can't, even if I fight Brandon Moreno 1,000 times, I'm probably going to luck into something at some point. You know what I'm saying? But you know how we know that, like, on average, an MMA fighter would be able, even if they're smaller, they'd be able to beat up a football player? We've already seen it happen, Roger Huerta, who is 5'9", fought at 155 for his entire career, never fought for a title, but is an OG of the game. You gotta show respect. He had a street fight with Rashad Balbino, who was a linebacker for the University of Texas in the mid 2000s, and that's whenever Texas was actually a good football team. So the guy was really, really talented, much bigger, got knocked the fuck out in a street fight because apparently he assaulted a girl, and Roger Huerta was just like, I don't like that. So he went and just ended him,
Also, another example, Josh, the college football players who got into a fight with the two guys who were literally in fucking cowboy boots.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where football players got this idea that they'll be able to just, win a fight against professional fighters, but it's not going to happen. You know?
Like, another example was, what's his name, who was the Mountain when he was grappling, was it Gordon Ryan? Or Gordon Ryan was grappling with some big guy. Or no, it was Dustin. It was Dustin with one of the strongmen. I can't remember who. Granted, there's no punching or nothing, but you saw the control though.
Yeah.
This is the big thing. Like, obviously, once punches get thrown, obviously things are going to change. But at the same time, what if once Dustin throw punches too? How much does that change?
Exactly. So I don't even think it's a question. I think Brandon Moreno probably beats an NFL linebacker probably 8 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10. Like, I encourage people. Like I said, Roger Huerta, we'll look at the video. 5'9", 155, fights a D1 Texas linebacker who, this would have been like 2009, so the dude would have just gotten out of college, maybe even been on like an NFL practice squad, something like that.
Who's our homeboy who did boxing? The football player, the one who fought at Chad Ochocinco? The one who fought in boxing, the one who fought Chad Ochocinco?
Chad Johnson, yeah.
Who was the other guy? The other NFL player?
Oh, Le'Veon Bell?
Dude, Le'Veon Bell boxed fucking Uriah Hall. Granted, he boxed. Imagine if Uriah Hall could have taken him down or thrown a fucking kick. Le'Veon Bell would have died.
But that's obviously different though, because they're obviously the same size.
No, and that was the other thing.
Yeah.
They were the same size. But still though, it's still, I know this conversation there's always some sort of conversation about shit like this. But even then, dude, if Uriah Hall fought the biggest NFL, I pick Uriah Hall every day of the week.
Here's the bigger question, Angel. Do you think that if you and me try to fight a linebacker, you think we'd win? 2v1.
I mean, how, what are we talking, like just a street fight?
We're talking this guy just, I don't know, we're at a bar, and he just got real angry at us, Angel. We're gonna have to fight a guy that's 6 foot, 250. Maybe he's playing for the Kansas City Chiefs, We're about to fight an NFL linebacker. Do you think 2v1?
Look, if we're not fucking idiots, let me say this. If you're not a fucking idiot, you should be able to beat most people in a 2v1.
If they have no combat sports experience.
Yes.
That's true. I think we should do it. Now, I will also add that I think Brandon Moreno fucks us both up 2v1.
Oh, well, dude, but we said this. If one of us gets knocked out, the other guy's fucked.
I don't even think, but here's the thing, is I don't even think we'd be able to touch Brandon Moreno.
No, he's too fucking quick.
I don't think we'd be able to get close enough to take him down. I think, this isn't a joke, I think, in a 2v1 strategy, like, Angel, let's say hypothetically, we're flipping it a little. It's you and me, we're fighting Brandon Moreno. I think the best strategy is for us to literally just run at him and try and get our hands on him.
Like some fight circus shit, dude. Literally.
Literally, sprint at him. I'll run from one corner, you run at the other. Just jump on him and
tuck that chin, bro, and just charge forward.
Exactly. That's the only way you'll ever beat him. But I think Brandon Moreno will fuck us up. I think Brandon Moreno will fuck up an NFL linebacker.
It's all good. It's all good, Josh. Because once we see red, it's over.
Dude, yeah. Here's the thing. I think Brandon Moreno doesn't know me. That's the problem.
He's never fought a real gangster.
Yeah, you know what, Angel? We're going to talk about it in a bit. Actually, we're actually talking about it right next. So did you see, because I saw this all over Twitter, did you see our friend of the show, Ben the Bang Davis, his grappling match against Brad, the owner of CFFC?
Yes, I did. I did see the night of.
He tapped him out in about 17 seconds.
Yes, but fucking what belt is Ben Davis?
I think he's a white belt.
Exactly. What belt?
But here's the thing, Angel. I said that like we should do an idea that the owner of CFFC just keeps on fighting MMA media members, just like every event. Just have him go out there and fight one random guy just to see like what happens. See how long it takes for somebody to just get competitive with him. I think it'd be funny.
Isn't the guy actually a black belt though?
He's a brown belt, and Ben said the night before we thought it. He said, Ben told me this the night before we thought this would be a good idea, a good start to beat the Prez and be the Prez, and Brad's job is on the line each match. I think that's a brilliant idea. And you know what, Angel? I might be a white belt, but I got a blue belt from Gracie University, and it won't matter when I step on the mats with the CFFC president. I either tap out or I black out, bitch.
Josh said,
you know what I'm saying? No, jokes aside, Angel.
No, I mean, it'd be fun. I mean, sure. Eventually there'd be one guy who'd be able to do something or make it competitive, hyper competitive. I would hope so. I mean, there has to be someone else there there has to be one media member who's proactively in combat somehow. You know what I mean? Or
yeah. But I mean, are they brown belt? Are they going to be good enough to beat this guy? I don't know. That's the fun part. I think
it's all good, Josh. I trained under Cesar Gracie, Stockton, motherfucker.
Angel, we know you've been hitting the mats. Hey, you know what, Angel? Personally, actually, here's the thing, Angel. I think they should do this beat the Prez matchup. I think they should do that as a series. I can't do it though. I got a bad back and neck, so I think you're gonna have to step in for me and just be and handle this.
Dude,
I've talked a lot of shit, so you're gonna have to back it up, and I think that's the way to go on this one.
Dude, he's a motherfucker though. Dude, he went for the leg. Like when I saw that,
dude, I saw everybody was so angry about that.
I was like, this son of a bitch really did. I'm not gonna lie to you. It wasn't mattering. He didn't upset me.
But you still felt the type of way about it.
I did. I really did. I'm like, there's no way this literally ended up in this position and you're really going for this. But hey, man, I mean, fair game, right? Like, you do what you gotta do. But the fucking straight ankle lock, I'm like, you motherfucker. You fucking motherfucker. I can't
believe. He's a black belt. Right.
Yeah,
so it's even worse.
I was right. He was a black belt. Yeah, it's like if you threw me in there, bro. There was no difference.
Yeah, right? I mean, I think it's a funny concept. I'm glad that it happened. Shout out friend of the show, Ben the Bane Davis. He'll be back. The rematch that he almost had him out of there. So
it's all good, dude. They were under the wrong rule set. He wasn't allowed to fucking do that. Like, if this was IBJJF, it'd be completely different. It's just if they fucked him over, it's all good.
I mean, jokes aside, I've always thought that should be like, I think like. I'm really happy that he did it, and I hope it becomes a series. I've always thought, like, why hasn't, like, because a lot of these, even guys that own MMA promotions, even though, like, smaller, low-key ones, most of those guys have trained themselves. Like, I think it'd be really funny if they just had something like this, I've always thought that'd be, like, a really funny idea, so I hope it comes to fruition.
Yes, that would be fun.
Mostly so I can go out there and, tap out Brad real quick, head home with a pocket full of cash, you know what I'm saying?
Sure, man.
Yeah, I'd die. Literally, maybe with my neck and everything. So, but anyways, man, I mean, that's my final thoughts on that. Any closing thoughts? Anything else you want to talk about before we go and close out, man?
No, man, I think we did the best. Obviously, with no UFC last week, nothing to recap, sadly. But next week, PFL, UFC recap, one fight night, UFC 289 pay-per-view, and Teofimo, was it Josh Taylor?
Yeah, correct.
So big week of combat, going to be coming back with a massive bang. Definitely excited for that. You can say what you want about the pay-per-view, man, but it's a pay-per-view, and there's still some pretty big names on that, and potential title implications for some people, and a title on the line. So nevertheless, Josh, I'll let you hit him with the outro.
Yeah, of course. And speaking of that outro, if you want to hear it again next week, you should hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. Over 1,000 subscribers now. Obviously, a huge thank you to everybody who helped us get there. We appreciate all the support, not only on the podcast, but on the clips and also on Cool Fighter of the Week, which is a series that I started a couple of weeks back. And hope you guys enjoy it. I'm at Josh Evanoff on Twitter. He's at Angel Ortega_01 at Courtside Sound for all things relating to the show. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace and buggeries. Mouse click.